family, welcome to part 2 of Folklore as we deep dive this whole album. Thanks to Nicole. Really appreciate this, Nicole. This has been fun. I can't wait to get into these next 4 tracks. We're going to start off with My Tears Ricochet, and this is track 5, of course. Now, I did a reaction to this song from the Long Pond studio sessions way back in June 17th of 2024. That was really cool. So that was my first foray into Long Pond Studios. Didn't know at the time that the studio is right up the road from me. Believe it or not, it's like maybe 40 minutes to an hour north of me. And I used to work in Hudson, New York, so familiar with the layout, but it must be like deep in the woods somewhere. I don't know. What else about this song? It's about an embittered tormentor showing up at a funeral of his fallen object of obsession. Taylor says it was the first song written alone, one of the saddest on the album, she says. And this is going to be the audio version, and my apologies for having to pause it, but it's the nature of the business, and the link will be down below for you guys anyway, so you can enjoy the whole thing the way it's meant to be. But due to copyright issues, I have to transform this video. Let's see. Yep, guitar and background vocals, Jack. And that's really all it's saying here. Of course, he's also doing keyboards, programming, engineering, all of that stuff. And the producer is Joe Alwyn. You all know that name too. All right, let's get into this. Kids, time to buckle up for our first track in part 2 here. Thank you so much, Nicole. Let's go. I love the layering going on. Slowly rises.
We gather here, we line up, weeping in a sunlit room. And if I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too. Even on my worst day, did I deserve, babe, all the hell you gave me? 'Cause I loved you, I swear I loved you, till my dying day. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, and you're the hero flying around saving face.
And funny that she mentions in that little interview about who's the biggest nemesis of a superhero, usually is like former best friend. So she even refers to that. We'll do a lyrical deep dive afterward, including all those little notes and everything, so we can get as much info from the song as possible. Put it all right here for you guys. So stick around. There's going to be a lot more from each and every one of these songs, I promise you.
And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake, cursing my name, wishing I stayed? Look at how my tears ricochet. We gather stones, never knowing what they'll mean. Some to throw, some to make a diamond ring.
Now, I'm trying to take in the musical aspect of this as we go through this to production and all. This way I can focus just on the lyrics later. Of course, I can hear, emphases on certain phrases and that sort of thing. I'll comment about that too. But I just love like these layers of background vocals kind of bringing in the fullness of the song. There's a little bit of synthesizer things going on deep down in the mix too. At one point, I thought they were like these little voices in the background. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch that again, but it's really, really faint way back in the mix.
Knowing what they'll mean. Some to throw,
I think it was just before this part.
Some to make a diamond ring. You know I didn't want to have to haunt you, but what a ghostly scene. You wear the same jewels that I gave you as you bury me. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace. 'Cause when I'd fight, you used to tell me I was brave. And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet. And I can go anywhere I want, anywhere I want, just not home. And you can leave on my heart over blood, but you would still miss me in your bones. And I still talk to you when I'm screaming in the sky. And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen
That whole part just kept building into the crescendo here. Even her vocals getting into the higher range, to that higher register going into this. Also, the drum track being more prominent. It was almost like hinted at earlier on. Now it's like comes right in. But even like the production mix and everything, backing vocals are getting louder. It's building into this crescendo.
And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen.
They dropped the drum track.
I didn't have it in myself to go with grace. And so the battleships will sink beneath the
And
waves.
it brings it all back.
You
Nice.
had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. You turned into your worst fears, and you're tossing out blame, drunk on this pain, crossing out the good years. And you're cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet.
Very haunting the way it fades out like that. Very, very minimalistic song, indie folk pop. Yeah, we're going to go into MIRRORBALL next, but not yet. First, we're going to do our lyrics here. So let me drop this. Yeah, we're going to get into our lyrics. But I just like the way that the song is composed, and you know, very slow and haunting in the beginning. Just minimalistic sounds, mostly backing vocals, and then just slowly builds all the way up to that high crescendo, and then everything drops out. Taylor goes back to that softer tone, just a little tiny bit of piano underneath that, and then everything comes rolling back in. So this is off of genius.com, okay? Verse 1, we gather here, we line up, weeping in a sunlit room. The line provides imagery of a funeral, a motif continued throughout the song. We gather here is typically said at weddings. On the Folklore Long Pond studio sessions, Taylor said, it does remind me of people going through a divorce and having that person that they swore to be with forever then become the person they spend most of the time talking shit about. We just heard her say that. And if I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too, which and it could be a reference to cremation, a means of disposing of bodies by burning them. And some people interpret this as Swift's departure from Big Machine Records and the battle for her ownership of existing discography. I don't know if that's, true, but that's what some people interpret it as. Even on my worst day, did I deserve, babe, all the hell you gave me? Taylor admits that she had bad days and that she may have lashed out at the person she's singing to at times, but asked them whether that means she deserves the bad treatment she received from them. 'Cause I loved you. I swear I loved you till my dying day. Again with the dying. Taylor has previously referred to her death in the iconic line from her lead single for Reputation, "Look What You Made Me Do." I'm sorry the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, 'cause she's dead. Oh, Taylor. That's Taylor for you. And then the chorus. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, and you're the hero flying around saving face. And the note to that is to save face is try to avoid embarrassment or damage to your reputation. Absolutely. And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricocheted. And of course, you guys know ricochet means to rebound more times off of a surface. Like if a bullet ricochets, it bounces off of one surface. It may bounce off of multiple surfaces. That's all that means. So what does she mean? This battle metaphor continues throughout the song with we gather stones, aim for my heart, battleships we sink beneath the waves. And I think that she's also using that as tears don't generally bounce off of anything, but it's a contrasting. It's the contrast. Verse 2: we gather stones, never knowing what they'll mean. Some to throw, some to make a diamond ring. I didn't want to have to haunt you, but what a ghostly scene. You wear the same jewelry that I gave you as you bury me. That's, like the gifts that she's given. As she's being, laid into the ground, like, you're slamming this person that you once loved, and meanwhile you're bearing those gifts that she's given you. And in this case, those gifts, I mean, if you're looking at it from the point of Taylor with Scooter and stuff, those gifts are her songs, her music. So, I mean, you could look at it that way too, if, from her point of view. I mean, she's not mentioning this herself, but, something to think about. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, because when I'd fight, you used to tell me I was brave. And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake, cursing my name, wishing I had stayed? Look at how my tears ricocheted. And then the bridge, if genius will let me go there it is. And I can go anywhere I want, just not home. And you can aim for my heart, go for blood, but you will still miss me in my bones. And I still talk to you when I'm screaming at the sky. And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullabies. Oof. Chorus again. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, and so the battleships will sink beneath the waves. And you had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. You turned into your worst fears, and you're tossing out blame, drunk on this pain, crossing out the good years, and you're cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricocheted. So, the line there in that part, you turned into your worst fears. Scott Borchetta has repeatedly accused Swift of lying about the circumstances around Scooter Braun's acquisition of Swift's masters with Big Machine Records. Scott has thus been tossing out blame on Swift for the whole incident, crossing out the good years that the two shared, and seemingly talking pleasure in inflicting pain on Swift. Okay? Or you could see that as, if you wanted to relate this to your own experiences, which I think is even more important when it comes to why people dig songs, why you connect with songs. Because if you had this sort of issue happening in your life, where your closest, your spouse, or you know what I mean, like someone that you've given everything to, all your secrets, and you leave yourself open to that person, thinking that this person is going to be forever, and you lose that, and to think that you're crossing out the good years, and sometimes people do that. They focus on those negative things, and they don't remember all that good that they had. So I could relate to that too. I also could tell you this, is that as time goes much further, sometimes we might just remember the good times and forget about those bad things. I think that's why some people go back to exes, is because they remember those good times and they kind of forgot why they broke up in the first place. And maybe that's good. Maybe it's because remembering those good times, they can move on and be like, I was a fool. We made mistakes. There was problems, but we had good times. We can move past that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about this too, and how this may connect with you. And listen, folks, if you like the vibe, hit the like, smash that subscribe. Always appreciate that. So there you go, folks. There is track number 5, My Tears Ricochet. I think it's a beautiful song. And, there are definitely old friends and exes in my life that I can relate to some of this, Taylor wrote it for her own reasons, but that's how I connect with this too. All right. Our next song is MIRRORBALL. Let's do the thing. And we'll do those lyrics afterward. And here we go. Actually, let me back it up. It just moved because of that last one there. Okay. I like the tambourine way in the back. I love the way she does those accents going up in those high. Dun, 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 dun. And the reason why I'm doing the album itself, the audio only, instead of her official music videos, is I just wanted to focus on the music, not be distracted by the incredible visuals that she puts into her videos. Her videos are works of art in and of themselves. So when I do the MIRRORBALL official music video, I'll be focused also on the video itself too, all those little Easter eggs that she puts in there, just so you guys understand. Because sometimes I get people in the comments saying, "Oh, how come you didn't do the official music video? Or you ought to do the official music video. They're awesome. It's so great, and this is in it, and so is in it, and I get it. I know her live performances are exciting. They're fun. They're incredible. I know those music videos that she puts out there are very, very entertaining. She's sometimes so funny. There's a lot of Easter eggs to dig up. I know. And eventually I'll be doing that for this song and all these songs, but right now let's just focus on the music.
Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. I want you to know I'm a mirror ball. I can change everything about me to fit in you. I'm not like the regulars, the masquerade babblers, drunk as they watch my shattered edges glisten. Hush, when no one is around, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Hush, and
Yeah, that's one thing that really marks this song is those accents where she jumps up a couple notes and into that little bit higher register on those accents there. Those are great. I love the atmosphere of this entire record. This is, I don't know about you guys. Do you like listening to certain kinds of music depending on the time of year or on the kind of day it is? Like to me, this is like the kind of album I'd want to listen to on a Sunday morning when it's either raining outside or maybe it's snowing out or it's really cold out there, and just having my cup of coffee and sitting down in front of the window, just watching the weather and listening to this. This is how this hits me. I don't know about you guys. Everyone's different, but that's definitely what I'm going to do with this album. I'm going to wait for that perfect Sunday morning where I can just put this on and just stare out the window and listen to it and take this all in, especially with all this information I'm absorbing through this.
love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. And they called off the circus, burned the disco down, when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns. I'm still on that tightrope, I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural, all I do is try. I'm still on that trapeze, I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me. Because I'm a mirror ball, I'm a mirror ball, and I'll show you every version of
that's a good
yourself
voice.
tonight.
I love when she drops low like that too. Got a great range. And I really dig this song. I dig the atmosphere of the song. Listening to that little interview there between Taylor and Jack. I totally see that scene where she's talking about with the disco ball, kind of a empty night at the place, just a couple out there dancing, couple people just drinking beers. It's kind of like a sad scene. I get it. Absolutely. What they were talking about is very interesting because when you think about it, I don't believe outside of maybe World War II, I don't think artists have had to do anything like what has happened during the pandemic. I mean, it created a lot because as a reactor, I see a lot of videos that their bands, that people have come together from all over the world to record music together, the cover a song. I've seen people that they couldn't go anywhere, so they they set up a little studio in their garage or their basement, and they did cover songs. They sang, played instruments. Really cool stuff. I think we got a lot of interesting artistic stuff out of the pandemic. Just a lot of art that we never would have had we not been going through that. I get it. So let's do these lyrics here. This is, of course, genius.com. Okay. First one, I want you to know I'm a MIRRORBALL. I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. I'll get you out on the floor, shimmering, beautiful. And when I break, it's in a million pieces. And you guys know, unless you've never seen one of those disco balls up close, but they're all just little tiny squares of mirror that's basically just glued around an orb. Probably styrofoam or something like that. And when light hits it, it reflects the lights in all those little spots. So you get all those little dots everywhere. You guys know the effect of that. So that's really what she's trying to say. And I think hearing her speaking with Jack about it even makes more sense that way. Into the chorus. Hush, when no one is around, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels. Love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in the highest heels. Love, just shining just for you. And then verse 2, I want you to know I'm a MIRRORBALL. I can change everything about me to fit in, which is what she was saying before, is that, having to adapt to the different people that you're around, your family, friends, maybe even different for different friends, I get it. I'm a MIRRORBALL. I can change everything about me to fit in. You are not like the regulars, the masquerade revelers, drunk as they watch my shattered edges glisten. This reference, the buildup of feuds and negative media attention that forced Swift to go into hiding at the end of 2016. The world moves on, another day, another drama, but not for me, all I think about is karma. The line suggests that they, presumably the media, enjoy watching her break into pieces and almost see her pain as a form of amusement. That's that little note on the edge here. And, I don't know. I think as an entertainer, you know how to read the room and to try to fit in. And as an entertainer during lockdown, where you were sequestered, you had to kind of figure out how to keep putting out your art, and maybe it's just writing it, maybe it's, like I said before, doing some cover songs or even your own songs acoustically in your house. She's got her Kitty Committee studio in her house, so it's a little easier. If you want to know, I'm a MIRRORBALL. I can change everything about me to fit in. You are not like the regulars, the masquerade revelers. Right? The ones who are wearing masks that you don't know who they are. They're out there just having a good time, drunk as they watch my shattered edges glisten. They're having a good time while she's in her own pain. Hush, when no one is around, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels. Love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels. Love, just shining just for you. And then the bridge, like she mentioned in that interview. And they called off the circus, burned the disco down, when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns. I'm still on that tightrope. I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. And I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural. All I do is try. I'm still on that trapeze. I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me. I've seen people who whose careers are more online. So there are some of these artists that they're independent artists. They really use social media, YouTube, platforms like that to get their artwork out, to stay connected with their fans. And I think that they have a much greater drive to keep that momentum going. So to keep people interested and bringing them along. It puts a lot of pressure on you, but I think that that's what they're feeling like. They're always they're always on that trapeze. They're always on that tightrope, trying to make you laugh, trying to get you to look at them. And then the outro, because I'm a mirrorball, and I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. As a matter of fact, what does that little note there say? While mirror balls are generally used to shine light around the room, they do also function as mirrors, lots of tiny mirrors, reflecting every angle around the room. If you looked very close at a mirror ball, you would essentially see every version of yourself from all these different angles, not the versions inside, of course. But what they say, the mirror never lies. So if you got hundreds of little tiny mirrors looking at every single angle, In context of the song's extended metaphor, however, Swift is saying that her music will bring out every version of a person as well. This could be referencing the common idea that people often bring out a different side of themselves while dancing. A shy person might become very animated when their favorite song is playing. It could also, however, refer to the range her discography offers. You can dance to Shake It Off or cry to All Too Well. It's all there. This also furthers the song's theme of image. Rather than producing its own light, a mirror ball only reflects. Think about that. Here, Swift is admitting that rather than being herself, she is trying her hardest to understand other people and making every effort to mirror them. As far as the song's bio is concerned, what it says here, on Mirrorball, the 6th track off of Taylor Swift's surprise 8th studio album, Folklore, she compares herself to a reflective disco ball. She sees herself as reflecting all the personalities around her. She entertains others, and she shatters like glass when her heart is broken. I love it. I think it's a beautiful song. I think everyone can take it differently. That's what I think. And I'd love to hear what you think, how this reflects in your life. Do you see yourself as the disco ball, and changing yourself and adapting yourself? Don't think it as a bad thing, but sometimes you have to adapt yourself to the people that are around you. I think it's a wise thing to do. All right, Mirrorball, my friends. Let's get to the next track. So now we get to track 7, which is the song 7. Makes perfect sense, right? Now, this is about Taylor reflecting back on her childhood, being 7 years old, having a friend who was living in an abusive home, Taylor, not really fully understanding what was going on with her friend, knew that it was definitely some bad stuff going on and just wanted to escape, with her friend there. So I love watching kids and thinking about how they act, and can you imagine as an adult? When I was running a cafe, I would just see mom out there with her kid, and her kid is just swinging his arms around, and all of a sudden just drops to the floor, and he's just like humming something and like nothing. Can you imagine as an adult doing that? I would love to, honestly. It would be a little harder for me to get off the floor, but I think it would still be really cool. I love that freedom as a kid. I really do. Let's check out the video here. Then we're going to get into those lyrics. All right. Got to do the love there. All right, folks. 7. Here we go.
Please picture me in the trees. I hit my peak at 7 feet.
This one's got a little bit more of a bouncy sort of feel to it, even if it's still has her rather haunting sort of lyrics. There's a nostalgic feel about this right off the bat here. I thought I heard her mention the word Pennsylvania, which is where she was raised. And my wife's entire family is from Pennsylvania, so I'm quite familiar, even though I'm here in New York, with at least the eastern part of Pennsylvania. I've been through the state. It's a big state, and no shade on anywhere else in the state. It's a beautiful state. One of the places that we considered moving to for our future because of its beauty. Just wanted to point that out. Let's get back. I want to back up a little bit and catch more of this.
In the sky with Pennsylvania under me.
Being up in the trees.
Are there still beautiful things? Sweet tea in the summer, cross your heart, won't tell no other. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Your braids like a pattern, love you to the moon and to Saturn. Passed down like folk songs, the love lasts so long.
Now you're hearing strings in there. I did find out that we've got Clarice Jensen on the cello, JT Bates on drums, Yuki Numata on, it's Yuki Numata Reznicki on the violin and the viola. We got some strings here, of course. And of course, Aaron doing, everything Aaron does. Taylor's beautiful voice on top of all of it. It's really beautiful. And the strings definitely add that nostalgic sort of flavor to the song as well. I like the shaker in the back too.
And I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. And I think you should come live with me, and we can be pirates. Then you won't have to cry or hide in the closet. And just like a folk song, our love will be passed on. Please picture me in the weeds before I learn civility. I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted. Sweet tea in the summer, cross my heart, won't tell no other. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Pack your dolls in a sweater, we'll move to India forever. Pass down like folk songs, our love lasts so long.
I also like the snare sound on that too. All right, before it gets into the next one, and it's gonna, let's go into these lyrics here. And this is, of course, genius.com. And I'll read some of these notes here too. I like the song a lot. I really do. It makes me think of my childhood as well. And I got to tell you, even at my age, I sometimes have my foot in my childhood. You know, I'm sometimes 10 years old again, and then I have my other foot sometimes in my teen years, and I'm that 16, 17-year-old again. And my mind is always in childhood and adulthood. It kind of swings back and forth. I think it's a healthy thing to do because it grounds you in that innocence of childhood. And I think I had a great childhood. I was actually thinking to myself, was there anybody I hung out with as a kid that I didn't realize what was going on in their house when I was a kid and didn't know? If anything like that was going on, I'm really clueless to it. I'm scanning my head right now with my bestest friends and the kids in my neighborhood, which all gathered at my house, you know, to play our games and have our fun. And I can't think of anybody. Personally, I can't think of anybody. I mean, there's definitely things that were eye-openers that I didn't think of before, but I can't think of anything of a bad household or domestic violence or abuse of any way. I can't. I really can't. I'm going to have to think a little bit more on that. But okay, so verse 1, please picture me in the trees. I hit my peak at 7, feet in the swing over the creek. I was too scared to jump in. But I was high in the sky with Pennsylvania under me. Are there still beautiful things, she asked. So just a curiosity here. What kind of a note do they have here with please picture me in the trees? Just like in her October 2014 song, Wildest Dreams, Swift asked that they remember her in a certain way. And this is a quote, say you'll remember me standing in a nice dress, standing in the sunset, babe, red lips and rosy cheeks. The trees might also refer to Taylor's childhood as she grew up on a Christmas tree farm. I do remember reading that. I think maybe one of you guys told me in the comments. Yeah, she grew up in a Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania. Explaining how the album came to be, Swift revealed that it started with imagery, visuals that popped into my mind and piqued my curiosity. One of those images being the tree swing in the woods of my childhood. I used to love that. I didn't have a tree swing, but we had an old swing set that I spent many hours on, just swinging back and forth and thinking. And if I wasn't on the swing doing that, I was on my bicycle riding back and forth and just this sort of loop. Nobody else around, just thinking. I miss those days, to be honest. I hit my peak at 7. The line I hit my peak at 7 can be presented as having a dual meaning. On the more obvious surface level, it refers to a 7-year-old Swift swinging on a swing set and reaching the highest peak she can. This nostalgic memory is supported in the next line, feet in the swing over the creek. There's actually a little cute picture of a kid swinging over a creek. The line can also be seen as a metaphor for Swift feeling the most confident and at ease that she can recall before her teenage and adolescent insecurities set in. I sometimes react to kids' bands, these young kids that are out there jamming in their basements, their garage. Sometimes it's the whole family, and I see these young kids and I see that innocence in them. And man, if only you can just hold them right there at that moment. All of us, right? And then life happens, and then teenage years and all those things that we go through. I love reliving this with Taylor and with you guys. Yeah, with Pennsylvania under me, are there still beautiful things? The chorus comes in, and I caught some of this right off the bat. Sweet tea in the summer, cross your heart, won't tell no other. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Unfortunately, that does happen with time. Is unless you have photographs to refer to, your mind starts to get a little hazy on some of those things. At least mine do. And apparently that's what Taylor is saying here as well. Some of my and then there's like those kids that you grew up with that you saw all the time. They were your neighborhood kids, they were part of your pack. And you might remember them at that time still. Not even like later on in high school or after that. I see sometimes pictures of those kids that I grew up with, and it's like, oh my God. They probably say the same about me. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Your braids like a pattern. Love you to the moon and to Saturn. Passed down like folk songs. The love lasts so long. Into the bridge. And I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad. And that must be why. Such a wonderfully childish thought, you know? Did you guys have anybody that you maybe grew up in a haunted house for real? Or at least what you assumed? Or at least what your friends told you? Definitely in my growing up, for sure. In my childhood, I do remember some of those. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. So there's your first hint there. And I think you should come live with me, and we could be pirates. Then you won't have to cry. See how she's building this picture? Or hide in the closet. So apparently her friend, she knew how upset her friend would be. She knew that her friend hid in the closet to get away from the yelling and all of that. I know that I was upset at times when my parents fought as a kid. So I know that feeling. Some of you guys might also be able to relate. But I love that she is saying, you can live with me. We can be pirates. Isn't that just a great thing to say? Then you won't have to cry or hide in the closet. And just like a folk song, our love will be passed on. Verse 2, please picture me in the weeds. Before I learned civility, I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted. And that's exactly what Taylor said in that little interview there about such a thing. Then back to the chorus here. Sweet tea in the summer. Cross my heart, won't tell no other. And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Pack your dolls and a sweater. We'll move to India forever. I love that. Pack your dolls and a sweater. Her bestie when you're little. You know, it's the most important things in the world, your dolls. We'll move to India forever. Passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long. So I'm wondering about a couple of these lines here. Because she does say, can't recall your face. And I'm just curious. Like a folktale, the origins of her memories with this girl are blurred. In explaining the meaning of the title of the album, Swift explained the lines between fantasy and reality blur, and the boundaries between truth and fiction become almost indiscernible. Regardless, her love for her childhood friend carries her into life today. She still loves her, and that love influences her emotions, regardless of who they're for. A similar theme to the one she explored in It's Nice to Have a Friend. Similarly, the origins of a folktale may be lost to history, but these stories still impact our lives and become a part of us, so that totally makes sense. I'm curious about this pack your dolls and sweater. We're going to move to India. Taylor explained that the concept for folklore started with imagery. We caught that in that first interview. Visuals that popped into her mind and piqued my curiosity. For this song, she pictured hushed tones of let's run away and never doing it. Perhaps Swift chose India to run away to because the country is brimming with folklore. The nation houses over 1,200 languages and boasts a plethora of different cultures and traditions throughout each geographical region. It could be. It could be that. Or it could simply be like a far off exotic land. You know, as a kid, are you really thinking about all of that? I know she's writing this as an adult, but in that kid mode, you might think like India is a far off place. I think as a kid, I would have said like Timbuktu, or you know what I mean? Things like, and I want to know where they were. It was just sounded exotic and far off. Let's go to Baghdad, you know, from Aladdin. It's that sort of thing. At least that's how I'm taking it here. There is a song bio I want to get into. Song is about one of Taylor's childhood friends who seemed to have an unhappy life at home. Taylor reflects back on her innocence back then, how she thought that their problems could be easily solved. It's reminiscent of the song It's Nice to Have a Friend from August 2019's Lover album, which talks about a childhood friend that Taylor grows up with and eventually marries. I'm assuming the friend married somebody, and, you know, I don't know the song. On August 2020, Taylor included 7 on the Folklore, the Escapism chapter EP, indicating that it fits thematically with Folklore's other songs about seeking relief from unpleasantness. And Aaron Dessner told Vulture, "This is the second song we wrote. It's kind of looking back at childhood and those childhood feelings, recounting memories and memorializing them." And this beautiful folk song has one of the most important lines on the record. And just like a folk song, our love will be passed on. That's what this album is doing. It's passing down. It's memorializing love, childhood, and memories in a folkloric kind of processing. I totally get it. I think it's a great song. I love the flow of it. It fits so well into what we just previously heard here. So this was track 7, so song 7. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. Let's get on to this next song here, August. Okay, now we've got track 8, and that's August. And I did August at the Long Pond Studio Sessions back on September 1st of 2024. This is going to be just the audio. So let's check out Taylor's song here, August. I think it's a great song. Let me do the thing there. And let's get into this here. Just a couple of notes. Yeah, this is actually the first song of the trilogy that she says that she wrote. So it's interesting to see where the creative process starts and then how it ends up evolving, and even where it ends up on the album too. And sometimes a middle chapter is written before the first chapter. We kind of know that with even Star Wars starts on chapter 4, and then 5 and 6 they had to go back and not redo, but make chapters 1, 2, and 3. But it started in the middle of the story. And that happens. That happens. If that's where your creativity goes, and you just go with it.
Salt air and the rust on your door. I never needed anything more, or whispers of "Are you sure?" Never have I ever before. But I can see us lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time, 'cause it was never mine. And I can see us twisted in bedsheets. August slipped away like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. You're back beneath the sun, wishing I could write my name on it. Will you call when you're back at school? I slipped away into a moment in time, 'cause it was never mine.
I love that her songs are, and I don't mean this in any kind of shade or anything, but they're simple enough and doable enough that anybody can sing along. Sing the song yourself. Sing with her. Sing it in your shower. I mean, it's got a great hook, great melody line going on, and it's because, and I think that's like the relatableness of Taylor, that it's easy to hang out with Taylor. I mean, I do these singers that are so operatic and so incredible. They're just so amazing, whether they're so deep and low or they go up into the stratosphere, and it's almost like I'm a little intimidated. I can't really do that without sounding foolish, one way or the other. But Taylor, I feel like I can just sing her song with you guys, with her, with the album, to myself, just as long as I have that melody line and I know those words. It's so relatable, if you know what I mean. On this one, you can hear Jack playing those live drums. Sounds like he's using brushes too. We also have Evan Smith doing some saxophone, flute, even keyboards and guitars. I'm not sure where that's going to come in here, if at all. Bobby Hawk on the strings. Just all it says is strings. So whatever they need is Bobby.
'Cause it was never mine. And I can see us twisted in bed sheets, all get sipped away like a bottle of wine. 'Cause you were never mine. Back when we were still changing for the better, wanting was enough. For me it was enough to live for the hope of it all. Cancel plans just in case you call and say meet me behind the mall. So much for summer love and saying us, 'cause you weren't mine to lose. You weren't mine to lose. No. But I can see us lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time, 'cause it was never mine. And I can see us twisted in bed sheets, all get sipped away like a bottle of wine. 'Cause you were never mine. 'Cause you were never mine. Never mine. But do you remember? Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car, and then cancel my plans just in case you call. Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all. Meet me behind the mall. Remember when
It's an interesting choice to have those background vocals so far back in the mix. It almost sounds like she's singing from across a very big room with the microphone here, and she's way out there. Very interesting choice. I don't know if that's supposed to represent that sort of distance, that far away feeling of memory. I'm not sure. Interesting choice though.
Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car, and then cancel my plans just in case you call. Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all.
Beautiful orchestration and arrangement. I love that it just fades out with each individual instrument fading out lower and lower. It's a great song. It really is. Let me jump into these lyrics here. Salt air and the rust on your door. I never needed anything more. Whispers of, are you sure? Never have I ever before. The salt air? Well, salt air inspires a location near a coast. Absolutely. If you've ever, that's what I mean, like vacation towns. Makes me think of like the Jersey Shore, which I've gone to many times for vacations, as well as down south on a lot of southern beaches, as well as Rhode Island and parts of Long Island. And that salt air, I love that when you're driving and all of a sudden you're getting that breath of salt air. You know you're close. You could just feel it. Salty air in beach towns is notorious for causing metal to rust rapidly. Absolutely. Further evidence that this song is set in a town near the beach. The beach imagery in this line also reinforces that the title of the song tells us this relationship was a summer fling. Not that that's okay, but it does happen. I never needed anything more. Love is all you need is an often repeated phrase, and this line might be referencing this. This August girl was so hooked onto James that she didn't need anything else, right? Whispers of, are you sure? Never have I ever before. These lines imply that the speaker and James may have lost their virginity to each other. It's implying, but maybe not. Asking, are you sure, is a common way for a nervous teenager to ask consent from a partner. Right. There's a lot of songs on awkward teenage, you know. If you know, you know, and you guys know. Lots of songs. Then to the chorus. But I could see us lost in the memory. August slipped away like a moment in time. Taylor presents two conflicting descriptions of her summer romance. Slipped away tells how fast the relationship passed. Slipped away tells us how slow and enjoyable it was at the time. The words sound very... slipped away and sipped away. The words sound very similar. So yes, slipped away means like it just disappeared one way fast, but sipped does make that feeling like you're just slowly enjoying the time. And because that'll be a line coming up. Because it was never mine, and I can see us twisted in bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine. Because you were never mine. And the twisted in the bed sheets, it also connects to her song Wildest Dreams, where she sings, you'll see me in hindsight tangled up with you all night. And in the song Daylight, I can still see it in all my mind, all of you, all of me, intertwined. That's the word, intertwined, Bill. You got it. Furthermore, she also mirrors a line in Betty where James recounts, slept next to her, but I dreamt of you all summer long. Ooh, ouch. Because you were never mine. The later track, Betty, elaborates on why the relationship didn't work out. The boy, James, had a girlfriend named Betty, but cheated on her with this unnamed girl, Augustine, we'll say, who the song's narrator, Betty, sees him trying to apologize for being unfaithful. The first part of that chorus is, cause it was never mine. And then that last line is, cause you were never mine. Goes into verse 2. You're back beneath the sun, wishing I can write my name on it. Will you call when you're back at school? I remember thinking I had you. And I'm wondering if their ages are about about 17, right? So they were probably be either in their senior year in high school, right? Maybe just starting their senior year in high school. I can easily see that being referring to you being back in school. I remember thinking I had you. Writing on the back makes me think of lying on a beach and maybe writing on the back in like the suntan lotion. So that way her name sticks out after reminiscent of Swift's first single, 2006, Tim McGraw, which he wrote about a boyfriend who left for college. In both songs, the teenage protagonist experiences a summer romance that she fears will end once school is back in session. And that will happen if you are living in a vacation town where people are coming and going, or you're just in that town as well, and you're both going back to your hometowns and your home schools. And I know about that. Will you write? And back then, there was no social media. There was no way to just keep in contact just like that forever. You had to literally handwrite letters, send them. It would take time to get back and forth. Been there, done that. But I could see us lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time because it was never mine. And I could see us twisted in bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine because you were never mine. And then that bridge, back when we were still changing for the better, wanting was enough. For me, it was enough to live for the hope of it all. Cancel plans just in case you'd call and say, meet me behind the mall. So much for summer love and saying us, 'cause you weren't mine to lose. You weren't mine to lose, no. Back when we were still changing for the better, a reference to youth and adolescence changing for the better, meaning when aging was exciting and new, rather than getting older being something that one wants to avoid. There was that time, right? When you just like couldn't wait to be considered a grown-up. But I could see us lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time because it was never mine. And I could see us twisted in bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine because you were never mine. And then into the outro. Because you were never mine. Never mind. But do you remember? Remember when I pulled up and said, get in the car? And then canceled my plans just in case you'd call? Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all, meet me behind the mall. Remember when I pulled up and said, get in the car, and then canceled my plans just in case you'd call? I think these are all those background vocals, too, that we're hearing way in the back, kind of almost making you think like this is like way in the past, like it's fading away from us. And then cancel my plans just in case you'd call. Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all, meet me behind the mall. Remember when I pulled up and said, get in the car, and then cancel my plans in case you'd call? Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all. And the meet me behind the mall part there, just curious what that little note is. The whole song started with the fact that I had written down in my phone, meet me behind the mall, years ago, wanting to write it into a song, which we heard her say. Swift refers to the meeting someone in secret on the 10th track of the album, too, when someone is on an illicit affairs, like James and the girl in the song. The meetings need to be held in secret places. And she says, or maybe this is from the song, and that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and stolen stairs. They show their truth one single time, but they lie and they lie and they lie a million little times. All right, and the song bio. August is another folklore track produced with Swift's frequent collaborator and friend, Jack, who called the song one of his favorite things they've ever done together. The song describes an ill-fated summer romance, similar to Tim McGraw. Swift says the album is inspired by the sun-drenched month of August, sipped away like a bottle of wine. It also worth noting that August is the 8th month of the year, and August is the 8th track on Folklore, and Folklore is Swift's 8th album that has 8 deluxe versions. There's always more to Taylor Swift that meets the eye. You guys know it. You guys tell me all this stuff down below in those comments. Thank you for watching part 2 of Folklore. Part 3 coming to you guys so soon. Get into it. Thank you so much for this. This has been awesome. Nicole, thank you again.